Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are when you see this video. Thank you for joining me, Dorothea, through an Orthodox Christian lens. Just a quick story for you right now. And as you saw in the title of this video, I'm going to go right to it. It's August 14th, 2025, a day before this meeting. Of course, it probably close to almost already the next day there in Russia with all the different time zones. I think there's 11, so. Kremlin reveals details of Putin-Trump summit. The Alaska talks will focus on a broad range of issues and will be followed by a joint press conference. Kremlin aide Yuri Yushakov has said. The summit between Russian President Vladimir Putin and his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump on Friday will focus not only on the Ukraine conflict but on a broader security agenda and involve several top Russian officials. Speaking to reporters on Thursday, Yushakov said that final preparations were underway for the meeting on Friday, which will take place at Joint Base Altman-Dorf-Richardson in Anchorage, Alaska. Given the short notice for the summit, everything is being done in an intensive mode, including tackling several technical issues, including visa-related matters. Yushakov said the summit will begin at approximately 11:30 a.m. local time, with a one-on-one conversation between Putin and Trump, accompanied by interpreters. Then there will be negotiations in the format of delegations, and these negotiations will continue over a working lunch. The Kremlin aide noted the very high level of the Russian delegation, which he said would include Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, Yushakov himself, Defense Minister Andrei Belosov, Finance Minister Anton Siluanov, and Special Presidential Representative for Investment and Economic Cooperation with Foreign Countries, Kirill Dmitriev, who has been a key figure in the Ukraine settlement process. In addition to the presidents, 5 members from each delegation will participate in the negotiations, adding that, of course, a group of experts will also be nearby. Regarding the agenda, it is obvious that the central issue in the talks will be the Ukraine conflict, he said, adding, though, that broader objectives of ensuring peace and security will also be addressed, as well as current and most acute international and regional issues. There will also be an exchange of views regarding the further development of bilateral cooperation, including in the trade and economic spheres. He noted, adding that such ties have enormous and unfortunately still untapped potential. Definitely. He confirmed that Putin and Trump will not only deliver a short opening statement, but also hold a joint press conference after the talks. He said the duration of the talks would depend on how the discussion goes, and confirmed the delegation will return to Russia immediately after the negotiations conclude. Wow. Okay, so this sounds like a really kind of, way bigger deal than I thought it was going to be. What do you all think? I think it's a bigger deal. It's going to have all these people there. I think it's important to have talks together and, discuss other things. The security issue, I found the issue about trade and economy, probably going to bring up the sanctions against them. But the other important thing in that is that I listened to Alex Craner this morning. He had some interesting things he was talking about. I may go into that some other time. I want to share his thoughts on certain things because they're important. But he was talking about the significance of Alaska as, I showed you the article, the history of Alaska and Russia giving it to America and all that. It was quite interesting. But he brought up the fact that I think there was a time when there was a discussion about building a tunnel under the Bering Strait from Alaska to Russia's land on the other side there, because it's not very far. Even talking about trains, train tracks and ways to get over on the train. I guess you would have to have a bridge or something. I'm not sure, but it's not that far apart. You really could just take a ferry, but sanctions aren't allowing anybody to do any of these things. You can't go to Russia. easily with all the sanctions. So, wouldn't that be nice if they could work together? He brought up the Arctic, working together, doing projects. Wouldn't that be nice if that was actually happening? And if that was to come about, wouldn't that be great? I think it would be. We can always pray for something like that. Pray for peace between the nations. Pray for lessening of what's to come. I know the war's coming, but man, there's a side of me that wishes this would just this would take place and things would be better. Of course, we all want that, I'm sure. So, anyway, we will see. I'm sure it's going to be an interesting day tomorrow with this. Everybody seems to be waiting with bated breath, as they say. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. Share your thoughts on what you think is going to happen with this meeting, because, there were such negative feelings on it of, oh, nothing's going to happen out of it. Then there's, well, this might happen. And then, of course, there was all about the land swap that they were going to be discussing, even though that wasn't the main issue. It was borders and security for Russia from their point of view. And Ukraine, of course, they want to keep some of their parcels of land. They want to keep some of their land. But I'm not sure how that's going to work out. I really don't know how it's going to work out. I think the problem with Zelensky saying, this can't be done without Ukraine, which, generally speaking, that would make sense. You would need those two to be working these things out together, and then a third party that's not invested in it would be nice. Because, yes, Ukraine does need to be in this. But the problem with that is that they have an illegitimate president, because there were no elections when there should have been, according to what I've been reading. So the reason why this won't work is if Zelensky was present at these meetings and decided to agree, make an agreement with Putin. He signs these forms, he signs the treaty agreement and whatever, and then the next president comes in to Ukraine or whatever, and perhaps they don't have the same thoughts on what happened, and he and his administration can say, well, this was not a valid document. It's not valid because they had a president that was no longer really supposed to be serving. It's a little illegitimate, basically. So therefore, they can tear up the treaty and say, "Oh, never mind," and then it's back to war. So that's an important matter there. So we'll see what happens. I would like peace between Ukraine and Russia, for both Orthodox countries to come back together, free the Ukrainian Orthodox Church from its persecutions, and just stop the killing of their brothers back and forth. Would be good. Anyway, and as you know, prophecy says that eventually this will end and they will come back together, thank God. So, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for following my channel. I hope you're having a great day, morning, evening, and I'll be back later. I have a long piece to share with you. Hopefully you can hang on and deal with me. It's a lot of stuff I've been digging into, research stuff, and so I want to share it with you. So I'll be back later. Thanks so much. Until next time.